Okay, infographic of Madan Lal Dhingra's life. So I've just gone through 4 little cheeky TikToks of his life, but let's go for a little bit of a more in-depth analysis. So Madan Lal Dhingra was born on the 18th of September 1883 in Amritsar, India. Now this place would actually be where a huge massacre is after his life, and that certainly would have enraged him if he lived longer. Okay, so in 1919, after World War I, there's something called the Amritsar massacre. And it was a massacre of mainly Sikh people who were trying to celebrate a very important time of year. So the Amritsar massacre. We'll come on later in the course. Anyway, let's not go on a tangent. Let's focus on this. So Dhingra was a Brahmin. Okay, that's important to know. He was a Brahmin and attended educational establishments which talked in English. So that's really important. Okay, so I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again for the purpose of this video. He was a part of an English-speaking, English-educated Indian elite. He's from the highest caste. Okay, now that Brahmin caste are the movers and shakers in Indian society. Now, although they are literate, most Indians are not. So this gives them an advantage, okay? Because education, I'm going to let you know, is a weapon. All right? Education is a weapon for revolutionary movements. You can organize, you can communicate, you can do far more if you are literate than if you are non-literate. You can write, you can influence, okay? So education is such a strong weapon, okay, at this time. And remember, only a tiny minority of Indians actually had access to this weapon, but they can wield it very well. All right. So in 1904, as a student of the Master of Arts program, Dhingra led a student protest. So you can see already his kind of revolutionary colours, okay, are being worn, you could say, all right, against the principal's order to have a college blazer made out of cloth imported from Britain. So at the time, I'm just going to let you know, there was actually like a trade war inside the empire between India, okay, famous for their textiles, and in England, where there were looms in the north, okay? So in the north, they used to have a lot of textile industries, but these were basically becoming not as competitive. They couldn't compete with Indian textiles, okay? So this is something that this will be a bigger feature later on. And so the principal, who's like this British patriotic man, decides that he wants that the college blazer to be made out of imported British cloth, which would be very expensive, okay? Whilst there's an abundance of it in India already, all right? So this is going to really upset people like Madan Lal Dhingra. And he was expelled. He was expelled from the college as a consequence. And his dad was not very happy. Okay, we've got an angry Sikh dad right here. Okay, he's not very happy. Because his dad actually was quite... So this shows a generation shift. His dad liked the British Empire. His dad done quite well. Trade with the British Empire. His dad had a nice... let's not forget that quite a lot of those Brahmins, although they become revolutionary, okay, had quite a privileged position in society and enjoyed it. All right. Remember, a lot of them would have been the railway clerks, okay, and owned business and have done trade. So a lot of the Brahmin caste did quite well and actually like the British Empire. So don't think that opposition to empire amongst that Brahmin class was like ubiquitous, and by that I mean common amongst all peoples. Okay, it wasn't. But what we can see is there's a generation shift, and often it's the young generation that are rebellious. It's the young generation that question. It's the young generation that say, no, we don't agree with these values, okay, that are there before us. We want something new. We want something different. We think the world needs to change, okay? He's very much in that vein. Now, so his father tells him to stop his political activity. But what I love about Dhingra, he's just like, no, can't tell me what to do. And so instead, he moves out of his house and takes low-paying jobs. He'd rather be his own man, yeah, than under what he sees as obsequious, as someone who is basically someone who is sycophantic, who kind of obeys the British Empire and everything they want to do. So he isn't a fan of that, Roman. But his older brother, basically this attracted a lot of concern amongst his family. So his older brother, Dr. Bihari Lal, compelled him to go to Britain to get an education. Look, you're getting, so he's like, look, he's really worried. Like, you're getting radicalized here. Right, go to Britain, get an education at a British like university. This will open doors for you, and your life will turn around. So that was the plan. That he was going to go to Britain, and that would become more moderate. Okay, he would get himself a job, a wife, you know, and just like kind of like accept the system. Okay, and this obviously has a huge backfire. So Dhingra finally agreed, and in 1906 he departed to enroll at University College London to study mechanical engineering. And his older brother pays for his expenses. Now he goes, but he lives in India House. Now when he lives in India House, he talks to other young revolutionary minded Brahmins. So basically what they've got is this like revolutionary cabal, and they all egg each other on. They all kind of find that they agree with each other. They're all educated. And isn't it brilliant when you're educated and you find that a lot of things that you have thought, other people are thinking the same things, and you have this degree of commonality? Well, then you become even further radicalized, don't you? It becomes really interesting, right? So it gets really, really radicalized by this kind of revolutionary spirit at India House. And then in 1909, he decides to assassinate poor old cousin Willie, okay, and he's executed within a month of the act. But he's completely and utterly unrepentant about what he did, okay? And he said, and his final words, he's unrepentant in the court, okay? In the courthouse, he's unrepentant, and on at the gallows, his final words are, "If I could die again, I would die again from the same cause. Vande Mataram, I love you, mother." And his mother is India. So for this reason, in India, he's on the stamps. He's seen as a freedom fighter. In Britain, British historians don't give him such a glowing review. Okay, which is very interesting, isn't it? Obviously, you see there's bias on both sides there. But let's not forget that Gandhi did criticize him. Yeah, Gandhi said, "Look, violence is not the answer. You shouldn't just kill random British people, okay, even if there were crimes that the British state has committed against Indian people." Okay, Gandhi didn't agree with this. Gandhi was for passive resistance. Okay, so quite interesting. And the consequences of this, as I said in the earlier videos, but I'll just say in this one as well, I think his impact was somewhat limited, because although this murder happens in 1909, there's no Indian independence until after World War II. So as we can see, socio-economic causes such as World War II, which gets the British Empire into colossal debt, seem to be more important than individual actions, even if they are significant. Okay, I'm going to end on that note there. Okay, stop recording.